Yeah. No, it's fine. I can just roll up.
Call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mrs. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item will be the moment of silence. As we begin this meeting, let us pause for a 60-second moment of silence to reflect, meditate, pray, or engage in any other silent activity. Thank you. Next item will be the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Kylan Lewis, a first grader of Vanderbilt Elementary School.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Kylan. Is it Kylan? Thanks for doing that for us.
That was phenomenal. That was absolutely awesome.
Thank you.
Now, where do you go to school at, and what grade are you in?
I'm in first
Can you
grade.
use your microphone so everybody in here can hear? Yeah.
I'm in first grade.
First grade. Who's your teacher?
Miss Wimmer.
Miss Weber. Can you tell us your favorite subject in school?
Math.
Math. That's awesome. You love it we love it that you are probably pretty good at math, aren't you? Do you know all your addition, subtraction, multiplication?
Not
No, not
multiplication.
yet.
Not multiplication.
I bet you learn it pretty quickly. I bet you do. Well, we're glad to have you here. Do you have any parents here?
My mom.
Your
And
mom?
my dad.
Do you want to introduce them? Show us where they're at?
My mom's
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah.
And my dad's
Your
back
dad.
there.
Awesome. I would love to get a picture with you. Can I do that? Awesome. You'll hang right there. I'll come around.
Thank you, Kylan. Great job. Next item will be approval of the regular board meeting minutes from February the 10th. Any discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mrs. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item will be approval of the special board meeting minutes from February the 11th. Any discussion?
I make a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Taylor?
Yes.
Mrs. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mrs. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item will be the swearing in of our new board member, Dr. Kate Williams. welcome, Dr. Williams. Okay, next item will be the reorganization as a result of the swearing in of our new board member. Any discussion?
No, do you want me to make a motion?
That's up to you, ma'am.
So we have to reorganize the board on who sits where. So I would like to make a motion that Steve Allen remain president, John Cockrell be vice president. I'll remain board clerk, Miss Debbie Taylor to be deputy board clerk, and our new Kate Williams to be our member.
I second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Taylor?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, hang on. Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mrs. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Oh, Dr. Williams, I'm sorry.
Yes, she is officially on the board.
She is
She-
officially.
She has to vote. All right. Next item, Ms. Thornton.
Good evening, Mr. Perry, President Allen, members of the board, and everyone here tonight. It is my honor to take a moment to recognize Coach Christina Gould and Jennifer Montgomery and their staff and celebrate what they've accomplished with our Special Olympics cheer and pom program. Coach Gould and her staff have given these athletes a platform to shine and a team to belong to, the impact of which reaches far beyond the competition mat. It's about empowerment, inclusion, and proving that anything is possible with the right support. Not only have they coached and trained our athletes, but they have also inspired an entire school community to rally behind them. The level of dedication from student and staff volunteers has been remarkable. And because of this unwavering commitment, our Special Olympics cheer and pom athletes brought home a state title this year at the OSSAA Game Day State Championship. These athletes have worked tirelessly, poured their hearts into their performances, and have overcome challenges with unmatched determination, and now they are state champions. And the journey does not stop here. The Broken Arrow Special Olympics cheer team has been selected to compete at the 2025 USA Games in Minnesota. This is an unbelievable opportunity for our athletes to represent Broken Arrow on a national stage, showcasing their talent, dedication, and the heart of this program. We are beyond proud of this team, the incredible work happening in our Unified Champions program under Coach Gould's leadership. I know that all of you will want to join me in saying congratulations to our Special Olympics Game Day Cheer State Champions. Thank you for representing Broken Arrow with excellence and heart. At this time, I would like to ask Coach Gould to introduce her staff and athletes.
I love being here. I always have good news for you guys. I get the fun job most of the time. So our powerhouse coach, Allie Reeser, her daughter is a participant on our team. She's not yet on the unified team because she's still very young, but I think you met her a couple weeks ago. She's a cornhole master. So yeah. But she has led the team with grace, and it's been amazing. Coach Montgomery in the back there. And a plethora of parents. We couldn't do this without them at all. Ladies, I think it's just ladies, yep, today. You guys want to go up, and I'll introduce you as you go up. This is Avery. She's a junior. Emma is one of our 3 seniors that started the original cheer team here 5 years ago that started this whole movement. Alex is another senior that's one of those 3 original members. Yeah. Cree is the last of those 3 original members. She is also a senior. Kaylee is one of our fantastic unified peers. We had the privilege of working with the freshman Tyget program. They came in and just worked tirelessly with us. So we're glad that you're here, Kaylee. Thank you. Savannah, you can go on up. And Loretta, Madeline, Caitlin, and Elliot. And then, of course, my fabulous assistant coach, Jen, that I couldn't do any of this without. So thank you, guys. Thank you to the board and to the high school and the athletics department. We absolutely could not do what we do without your support. We just really quickly, to run it back, Broken Arrow was the first group to have an interscholastic cheer team that allowed us to be on the sidelines at on the football stadium. I'm gonna get emotional. But, so because of the work that we were doing, Special Olympics Oklahoma last year said, well, apparently we need to add a cheer program. And they added it last year. OSSAA saw it and they said, okay, we'll add a competition for you. And here we are. So, thank you.
Coach Gould, I just want to say thank you for your time, and again, you keep driving these things. It's just amazing how the program continues to grow. I got the opportunity a couple month or so ago to watch the routine, and it was just perfect the way that you all executed that. So proud of you. Will you mention real quick about our Jungle Squad on competition day? Because I think that's the beauty of all this. Every student is valuable here at Broken Arrow High School.
Absolutely. So we put an all call out to our leadership team at the high school, and Jungle Squad showed up in big numbers, and they came out and they were cheering us on before we ever even came out of the tunnel. So they were a fantastic help. And then when we were recognized for USA Games, they were there for that also. So they were huge, cheering us on in the crowds. It was fantastic.
That's awesome. Could we get a picture?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
I just got to squeeze in though. They don't have a lane that way.
Get that picture. Congratulations, ladies. Great job. Great job, Coach. Thank you. Where's ours at? We didn't get one. She said you didn't go out there. You didn't do nothing. That is outstanding. Next item, Ms. Barber.
Good evening, President Allen and Mr. Perry and members of the board. It's going to be hard to follow that, but we're following that with another celebration, so it'll be all right. It is a great honor tonight to be able to share with you that the National Merit Scholarship Program has now determined which of the 16,000 semifinalists named in September of 2024 have met all of the requirements to advance to the finalist standing in the competition. All finalists will be considered for the National Merit Scholarship Awards to be offered in 2025. And the finalists are, as I call your name, students, if you'll walk this way, the finalists are Audrey Crisp, Jake Henry, Nathan Martin, Darren Verrett, and John Kaya. If we could give these students a round of applause, please. I want to just take a moment to say thank you to the village. First of all, let me thank our district leadership and our Board of Education for your support in the National Merit Program. There's different things that we do throughout the year with our BA Scholars Camp and different receptions and things like that. So thank you all for what you do. Let me thank the parents of our National Merit finalists. They're right over there. If you guys can kind of wave your hand. We all know that the value of learning begins in the home. I feel like I say that every time, but it really is true. And then I want to thank my teachers that really pour their hearts and souls into this program. They do the BA Scholars Camp throughout the year and in the summer. And those teachers are Miss Heckler, Miss Lewis, Miss Trueblood, and Miss Wilson. And Miss Heckler is going to come this evening and just bring a few remarks to celebrate our students. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Perry, members of the board, guests, parents, and families of these students. So we did present semifinalists in October, but this was where the work began for these students, or the work continued for these students. They then needed to respond to an essay prompt. They had to complete an application with a list of activities and volunteer service hours and leadership positions, honors and awards, as well as employment. They had to take either the SAT or the ACT again and earn credit that confirmed their PSAT performance. They had to be endorsed by the school principal. The school principal had to present their academic record with the courses that they've taken and their grades, as well as submit letters of recommendation. What's important to recognize, and I've said this before, these students are more than just a test score. They are more than a national merit finalist. When you get to know them, they are so much more. It has been a privilege and an honor to meet these students and to work with these students over the last couple of years. And so I sent them an email and I asked them several questions regarding their college plans, whether they were recruited, some factors that they considered regarding making this very big decision. But I also, to present them as more than just the score, I asked them what they thought they would do for fun once they got to college. And so first we have Audrey Crisp. She hopes to continue and join a running club, and so she would also like to join and take some creative writing classes. I know that I will read some of her work later. And then we also have Jake Henry. He hopes to rush a fraternity. He hopes to join an intramural basketball league, and then he would also like to study abroad. I can't wait to see where his travels take him. We have John Kaya. He looks forward also to participating in intramural sports and also traveling, studying abroad. Darren Barrett also will look forward to hanging out with friends, spending time outside, and also playing sports. Nathan Martin hopes to spend time with friends. His girlfriend's going to the same school, and he hopes to also take advantage of some sporting activities and events on campus.
Just wanted to congratulate each of you and your families as well. And like Ms. Barber said, the village, a lot of hard work. We're proud of you. And I'm not sure the numbers, but this is quite a large number from what we've had in the past. So, yeah. Congratulations to each of you. Yeah.
Awesome. How are you, first of all, just introduce yourself and so that we make sure we get the names right. But I'd like to know, too, if you're a BA lifer and what schools you went to growing up.
I'm Audrey Crisp. I am a BA lifer. I went to Arrowhead Elementary, Sequoia Middle School, and now Broken Arrow High School.
That's great. That's great to hear from you. So tell us again what your plans are. I know we heard them real quick, but I want to hear them directly from you all.
So I'm committed to the University of Tulsa.
Okay.
I want to go down the pre-med track while I'm there, and I am considering doing like a double major with like biology and chemical engineering.
Teacher stand out in your mind that really influenced you and prepared you?
At the BA Scholars Camp, I had a lot of teachers who helped me. Miss Taylor was one of the ones there, Miss Lewis. And let's see, at Broken Arrow, my history teacher, Mr. Page, helped me a lot. He was always one of my biggest supporters, really helped me believe in myself. And and finally, one of the professors of my college classes, Professor Schuster, she was an amazing professor, and she really helped me, feel confident in the PSAT.
Awesome, awesome. We're proud of you. You still have track to go?
Yes,
Oh, good.
yes, I do. We're actually in season right now. So.
That's awesome. Well, we're so glad you're at this level, and want to just congratulate you and your parents for achieving that level, because we could spend a lot of money on PR and try to get our name out social media, but you all are the best PR we have. So, congrats.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Who's next?
My name is Jake Henry. I am a BA lifer. I went to Highland Park and then Oneida Ridge and then out of high school.
That's great. Great. To talk about some teachers or classes that really inspired you.
Yeah, so Miss Heckler for sure, Miss Lewis, who is also at the Scholars Camp, and then Miss Wilson, who was also at the Scholars Camp. All three of them really been encouraging me throughout the past few years. Mr. Moreau is another one. He's a math teacher. I know he's for sure been really helpful the past few years. So.
Awesome. And what are your plans?
I'm for sure going to college. I don't know where yet. I'm still waiting to hear back, but probably TU. I want to do finance and probably math, double major that. But we're still waiting to see. So.
Good deal.
Yep.
Well, congrats again to you and your parents.
Thank you.
I'm Nathan, and I am going to the University of Oklahoma, study probably chemical engineering pre-med.
Okay, wow.
And I am a BA lifer. I went to Country Lane and then Centennial Middle School.
That's great. Teachers, classes that really inspired you?
Miss Christensen taught world history to me, and Miss Wilson, math teacher also for him, made their classes really engaging, really fun. And then Mr. Thompson, my leadership teacher at the high school, really helped me to grow as a person outside of the classroom as well.
Are you involved in any extracurricular activities?
I played football. I was the captain of the football team, played linebacker. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, congratulations to you and your parents.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Hello, my name's Darren Verrett. I was also a BA lifer, went to Oak Crest first and then switched to Leisure Park, and then went to Oliver Middle School.
Good deal. Classes that inspired you?
So Miss
Teachers?
Heckler, I had Miss Heckler for 2 years. She was definitely a big part of helping me with like writing for English and essays, and it just helps with everything. And then I also had Mr. Moreau for math, and I had him for 2 years as well, and he's just been great at helping me with just continuing along with what I want to do, which is math. I want to go to TU and major in math and maybe do some sort of other engineering as well.
That's great. Great. Good job. And just, again, proud of you, and thank you to your parents for supporting you through this.
Thank you.
This is the comedian that we've all been waiting for.
Hi, what's up? My name's John. I am a BA lifer. I went to Centennial and Country Lane Intermediate. I want to do finance in college, and I want to get a PhD one day and be a professor. That'd be like my dream career. So yeah, I forgot what you guys asked other people.
Now, what classes, what teachers really inspired you?
I really liked Miss Lewis's English class and Miss Christensen's AP World History. They both really made me like fall in love with learning again because they're like really fun, like engaging. So yeah, I just say those.
That's great. That's great. Any extracurricular activities?
Right now I play volleyball. We have like a team. It's not like school sanctioned, but we just started the season, so I'm excited to keep playing that.
And no plans for stand-up comedian?
Sadly, no.
No backup plans.
I don't think the pay is good enough, so we're gonna have to settle.
That's right. You're a finance major. You know best. Well,
where are you going to school?
Oh yeah, I'm thinking TU, but I applied some other places, so those decisions come out later. So we'll see.
Good. Yeah, and proud of you, and thank you to you for all the hard work you've done, and your parents too.
All right, thank you.
Can we get a picture real quick
Congratulations. Next item, Ms. James.
Good evening, Mr. Allen, Mr. Perry, board members. This evening, in the past few years, you guys have requested that we align with the legislation and kind of keep you guys informed and ourselves as well as we begin to see people advocate for education and the needs that we have. So this evening, I wanted to present some bills that have come up. They've made the first kind of hurdle. I have visited with, PTA has asked me to visit. I visited with high school. A lot of educators and teachers asked some information. And what I advise too, and what I continue to tell myself, is that it is a marathon. Like, it's not a sprint. It is exhausting if we get upset and into every single individual of the 3,000 bills that were written in education. So we really try to pace ourselves, make sure the ones that we believe in, that we're going to spend the time advocating for, what's best for our students, but also what's best for our teachers and recruitment and the needs that we have. So one thing I did want to bring up, first of all, for you guys, just kind of get your insight and just give you a heads up on, is the push to change the school board election date. I'm sure you've seen that. It's been brought up quite a bit. I did some research. Mr. Perry and I were at an educational legislative conference in February. They started this push last year. A lot of people, Senate and representatives, think that it costs a lot of money for us to run elections off of when we do our federal elections that we would do in November. They listed different numbers and amounts and stuff like that. They feel like we don't have as much of people showing up to vote. But I feel like I think our point, and when we've discussed things, when we've talked with our legislators, the thing we're wanting to say is that it should be the parents in our community who are involved and focus on what's up for the election at that time. It might get lost if it's pushed into November. So there's a couple of bills that I just wanted to run by with everybody and keep you informed on in case there's some more information you felt would be helpful for us to have. But one of the state bills is 652. And state 652, make sure I'm gonna say it right. This one just moves it to, like, you can do them in certain months, okay? So that's probably one we've been leaning for. It still allows us to do it like on the first Tuesday of February, April, June, August, and then again November, continue special elections. The other bill, which is a House bill, which is 1151, that bill would say you will only have it every 4 years, and it would be in a November month. And so you would no longer have a 3-year term or a 2-year term or 5-year. It would just be a 4-year term, and every odd year every even year you would come up for an election. So they have both pushed past their floor, so they'll be going to the floor to be voted on before they go to the other side of the House. So
Both of these bills have passed?
Out of their committee and out of like ethics and elections committee. So they officially now have made it out of their floor and will be going to the other side to be considered.
So I think they're going to have to pick one of them to support and pass?
Yeah, for sure. I think the one when we've had more conversation, I think knowing that if they're going to push for one, the one that we feel that still allows us to have our independence and to have our community speak would be the one that's still going to allow us to have the elections in the February, about every other month, as opposed to once every, 2 years. So, and it protects special elections as well.
And that would be the whole area voting, not just the zone of that.
Correct, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we wouldn't have zone representatives no more?
Excuse me, you would have your zones in the House Bill 1151, but not in your state bill. It would be everybody voting at that time, yeah. And it'd be on a 2-year, so that you would have every 2 years you would be having 2 or 3 people come back up for election, how large your board is.
Is it 2, 2, and 1?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to misspeak.
And I really like our current format because, it's one board member at a time where there's some continuity. I mean, you're talking in a 2-year period, we could have 4 new board members, and you look at districts and stability, it's the board plays really the foundation of that. And if there's just turnover all the time, then I don't think that's healthy for kids in the long run.
Yeah, and COSA and OSSB both have said that. They're both kind of like, this much changing of the guard really causes more confusion. And you do not have time as a board to really dig in and build roots and make things happen based on what the community asked for you to do when they elected you. So I feel like there's more investment in what's best for our kids, more investment on your time for us to see the fruits of that labor. And if you're just turning over ever so often, we feel like when we were kind of visiting and looking into that, it's going to narrow that down and honestly be more of a partisan as opposed to nonpartisan right now. When they come to vote in the election, it's about what is empowering their students, what's helping us as a community, what helps our workforce. If we go to in November when we're doing it in federal elections, it becomes more of a partisan. I'm just going to vote straight down my line maybe. I'm not speaking for everybody, but if it's very confusing, they probably are going to tend to lean towards their party maybe, as opposed to really knowing what the issues were with the school district. Any questions on that one or anything else?
That
Yes,
first
ma'am.
one, can you repeat? That second one, you said every 4 years.
Mhm.
Does the first one affect that as well, or would it say 5 years?
It would stay the same. It would let them as they come up, you could have it.
The term would be 5
Yes,
years
yeah.
instead of 4 years?
Some of them 3. It depends on, I don't want to get in the legality, that's y'all's expertise, but yeah, depends on how long your term was. So if somebody left early and your term ended up being 3 years,
gotcha.
you would come
Okay.
up in certain time, yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, so in addition, there's a couple other things that we want to keep on our mind. One of the positives I do want to brag about, I feel like it seems this year the legislation has really been, or the legislators have been focused on teacher recruitment. Senator Pugh put forth several bills to get increase in pay. Senator Hicks did as well. Several on the representatives did so. But one of the things we're running into is it looks like it's going to be a flat budget. So it's going to cost quite a bit. If we give the teacher raises that we need to do to continue to be competitive, it's going to cost money. So whether we get traction on that, we're not sure about. But there are other bills that they're doing that will help kind of close some of the gaps that they can do, that we do have money in the budget for. One of those bills is House Bill 1727, and it allows any teacher who has a student going to college, they would automatically qualify for Oklahoma's Promise. They tried to get that passed last year. They couldn't get the momentum. But this year it has. It seems to be moving forward. It's going to the floor, and then it'll go to the other side as well. This seems to be both sides of everybody wants this because it'll be something positive. What I have had people reach out to me is what they're defining as a teacher. It will not be an administrator or superintendent or building admin. It would be specifically if you're a teacher, you're teaching in the classroom, and then your students still meet that highly qualified or the Oklahoma Promise. Sorry, my cold. Oklahoma Promise requirements that you would have to have. So.
And I think that could be one of the greatest recruitment tools into teaching that's out there. And was it Moore?
Yes, yes, sir.
We spoke to him, and his mom, I believe, mother was a teacher. And so he's really got the heart of public education. So would love to see that bill go through.
Yeah.
So in order for that, to get the Oklahoma Promise, that student would have to go into be an education major?
No, not for this one.
Okay.
We have 2 different bills. One that would say if you go into education, we're going to grow your own, and they're going to put in a grant money for us to hand over to you guys to say if you can get a teacher recruited, they can come and work for us, and we'll pay their tuition. It's almost like it's coming to us. It's kind of a grow your own. That's with Senator Pugh. This one is straight across the board saying if you are a teacher in the state of Oklahoma, we're going to recognize that, and we're going to let your students qualify automatically for Oklahoma's Promise, which gives you up to almost 24 hours of tuition free each year. And normally that is only if you qualify for fund. If your parents make a certain amount, you would qualify. That would do away with that piece. Just gonna make sure you have the GPA, be admitted, and then you would automatically qualify. So that's a huge one for us. I think it's a big win for sure. One of the others that came up, and this has been something I think over time, and we see politics throughout, whether it's a state board or where that looks like how it fits in with our legislation and the school, the administrative rules. But one of the things the House bill, Ms. West is also doing, Bill 1466, to ensure that districts have an opportunity to defend before the state board if they're brought before the state board for accreditation issues. So if we're given a discrepancy or we're deficient, we have the opportunity to go forward and have a conversation up front. when it's being said. I feel like that's a positive on us because we're not against accountability. We should have accountability. We're not against that. But what we, I think, as a district would express is we want accountability with transparency. Tell us up front what the problem is. Let us defend ourselves and explain and share that. So there's been several, both on both sides of the house, for them to say, we need to protect that. You just can't cause a big problem, call people up and say you're deficient without an opportunity for us to defend. So. Also, one I put on here, I was talking to Mr. Perry about, we've visited with this one. I talked to Ashley as well. House Bill 1522 is directing the State Board of Education to purchase a statewide student information system. For us, as you realize, I think a year or so ago, so not too far long ago, but we purchased Infinite Campus. That's how we update our information. It relates to the State Department, to the WAVE, and communicates every kid's grade, every teacher's pay, no matter what it is, it's listed through that. They would like us to go to one uniformed system. I, speaking for Sharon James, have an issue. I feel like it opens us up to the cost, what they can afford to get. We just made a huge change, a huge investment in training for us. So for them to say, okay, start digging around again, find something else, I feel like sometimes it muddies the water, and I think it takes back away from the district of having the ability to choose for ourselves. What do we need? What is the best fit for our record keeping? We'll stay legal, we'll communicate, but what really is a good fit for our district?
And it's, student information system change is one of the most stressful things you can do as a district. The rollover, so much of that data of getting it from the prior system into the new system, it's a headache beyond belief. So again, the opportunity to have local control and us choose what's best for BA would be what we would be in favor for.
Because at the end of the day, I think they're going to have to go with what they believe is affordable, because they're doing for 500 districts. And it's a huge cost, but we want to go with quality data. Everything is pulled from that. The A to F that we talked about last month, all of any accreditation stuff, any deficiencies is pulled from that. And we are only as good as what our data with the company is we're using. Be like, what kind of bank do you want to use? That's counting your money and making sure you're, all that. To me, that's an investment for us. And then pulling that from our control, I don't see the positives yet. So, and I don't want to speak for Mr. Bowser.
Having a problem keeping the data from all the different districts, right? Or what is the purpose of making it uniform across the state?
I don't know. I'll be honest
Mr.
with you, Ms.
Bowser,
Taylor.
do you have an answer?
Yeah. Please. I don't want to misspeak on some things, Ms. Taylor, so.
So one of the challenges across the state is that every district can choose their own student information system, right? It all reports to a centralized system, and every vendor has to make sure that their system does report back to the WAVE so they can get the data and information that they need. And so that's the argument for it. The challenge for us is that when we had to make that change 18 months ago in a 3-month time frame, right? I talked about that a lot. But when we had to make that change, we vetted all the systems that we felt like were applicable and really would work for a district our size. And I even had error rate analysis on which student information systems had a higher error rate with reporting to the state. And across the board, the solution that we chose was the best fit for us. So I agree with Ms. James. Like, we want control over that because along with that is not only the legacy data that Mr. Perry referred to, but then also the training of our own staff to be able to use it, right? We implement a new system, now we got to go back to the drawing board. Everybody's got to learn something new and got to train them there. And, I'm not real clear on who pays for the system, if it's us or if it's the state. And then internally, some of the other conversations we've had are if they select this system, we use different, for example, I won't go too far into the weeds, but I'll just share this. So we use Canvas as our learning management system. Well, Infinite Campus, our student information system, it has a learning management system component to it. And so some of the questions we have are, if the state were to choose a student information system, would they make us use all the modules then associated with it? Would they make us use the learning management system? And so even if we didn't have to change the SIS, it might mean we have to change something else in the way that we're doing our business practices on a day-to-day basis. And that's another huge investment. Now you're talking about an impact on the instructional world, and what does that do? And, so just lots of questions we have about this legislation, and I think could be some unintended consequences is really the
Do you recall the price tag on switching over last time?
So one of the things that the implementation for Infinite Campus was relatively inexpensive, honestly. It was under $100,000 for the implementation. The software annual expense is in the ballpark of about $200,000 because we also use their enrollment system and that sort of thing. When we did eSchool before, the price tag on the implementation of that system was $500,000. So, I mean, it's a lot of money. And if you think about all the districts that use different systems, part of it's based on your size, but some of that stuff is just straight up implementation costs. So I worry about, just from a state perspective, we talk about flat budgets. That money's got to come from somewhere. And my concern is it going to come from local districts, so.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
I knew he would be able to explain it so much better, for sure. Any other questions on that, the informational? Because I know it's quite a bit. Couple other ones that we have done that we've been advocating for. Another one is for special ed. One of our shortages is in special ed. I know that Ms. Daleen Thornton has continued to try to recruit. We look to find different ways. One of the things that we've ran into is the certification process to become a special ed teacher. So we're excited because they created a bill, and it is House Bill 2893, that would exempt teachers. Right now, if a paraprofessional or another certified teacher wants to go into special ed to teach special ed classroom, they have to do the certification test and additional 12 to 15 hours of college work. That's quite a bit of money. A lot of people don't have that money. They're invested in raising their kids. They're working. It's hard to fit that in. So we have struggled to pull teachers over into the special ed category. So they have a bill that would exempt them from that. If you have a degree in education already, just get certified in that special education area as a paraprofessional or as a teacher, and they will exempt them from those extra hours. That's a huge win for us. So we are excited. Again, that's made it across all of the committees. It'll be put before the floor, and then we'll go over to the other side. So that was a huge win for us, and I feel like it's one we've been advocating for quite a bit. So another one that's been on our radar has been a concern. This has been a huge concern. It is House Bill 1280. Chad Caldwell has put forward a bill that would require us to spend originally 60% of our funds would have to go directly to the classroom. And that sounds perfect. Like, of course, we want everything going to that. But they would not consider child nutrition, transportation, school counselors, psychologists, speech. None of those things would fall underneath that. It would only basically be the teacher, salary, and classroom materials that we purchase directly to that.
So if that was to take effect and pass, and they put that threshold and don't claim any of the things, that mean we have to cut those services?
Correct. Yes. Something would have to be taken back and then added onto this side of things. And our argument would be, yeah, a school counselor's not directly inside the classroom. The psychologist that we were required to have by federal law in order to identify students who have disabilities, we wouldn't have that. Speech that we're required to have. Kids need those services in order to have quality learning and in the classroom. So without that, they're not learning, they're not getting equitable standing. Different students with challenges would not be having their needs met. So we're going to be pulling that from something to offset that.
So as a board, we'd be sitting here going, okay, we got to make a decision. Do we cut this program or do we cut transportation? I mean, they're going to force us to, not just us, but boards across the state have to make those decisions.
Yes, sir.
They did drop that.
They just amended it on Wednesday or Thursday. I was texting Chuck this past week. They did drop the threshold from 60% to 50%. To put that in perspective for us, been visiting with Nally, and COSA has us down as showing 57.21% of our bond, or all of our funds go to the classroom. But we were also in another meeting a few days ago where a couple other districts were like, I'm not going to make that just, because I have one janitor or I have a bus, it really does put more pressure onto smaller districts, I believe, from the perspective that we would hear.
Not bad.
And has this made it out of committee?
It made it out of committee on Thursday with the amended 50%, but it'll still, and it went out appropriation and budget as well. So now it'll move into the floor to be heard on the House side. So. But it'll cost something. Yeah, and that's one of the legislators who were in the meeting last week that I was listening to. They said, something's going to have to give. What do you think has to give? And nobody's gotten that far into the weeds to see what they're going to have to give. Kind of like you said, what's that conversation look like when we're, getting rid of school counselors in this day and age when we need mental health, we need school counselors in the classroom. How are we going to get by if we don't have psychologists who can actually identify legally students who need additional services for us?
Sure.
So any clarification on that one? I have one last bill that I'll share with you. This is a positive. This is a big win for us. Senator Hayes has been fighting this fight, calling Mr. Perry probably 4 or 5 years,
Yes.
for a very long time. Senator, our newly seated Senator Gillespie just joined this fight as well to have NSU recognized in Broken Arrow as a university that can offer both for 1,000 and 2,000 level courses and not just the higher end 3,000, 4,000. What that means for us is that in the past, they couldn't offer a course in those 1,000, 2,000 basic entry courses. Our students would have been forced to go through Tulsa, TCC, Tulsa Community College, which we have a great partnership with. But this provides us more opportunity in our community to have another university that can provide more support for our students. And I think the key for this, and the chamber has been, and the city has been a huge proponent for this, that not only are we a community for workforce, and that we can employ people, we bring people into our community, thus into our district, but also that we have opportunities for education. So we have TCC, we have NSU, we also have Tulsa Technology. We have a lot of opportunities educational-wise that would bring more people into our community. So this is a huge piece. It has made it out of everything onto the Senate floor, so to be spoken about there. I don't see, and Mr. Perry, I don't know if you've spoken with anybody lately that
No,
has
I
given
mean,
more
there's a
info.
bill on the House side too, and so there's still a lot of discussion that we're hearing. We look at workforce development and what a 4-year university would do in the city of Broken Arrow, and I think it would be a positive thing for this community and for our students here that would not need to leave the area to attend a 4-year university if they chose to do so.
Well, with the new entity that's being built for all of the concerts, that area is going to grow. We're going to start seeing apartments over there, I'm sure, at some point. So having housing, which has been a negative impact, that's what the argument has been. You can't house kids in that area. Well, there is a possibility to have that now. So it could become more of a mecca of an education. But there are multiple, I could stay here all night sharing with you different legislative bills, but these I felt like were some positive wins and some that need to be on our radar. But were there any others that you guys needed to ask about or anything like we can keep on our radar to continue looking into?
Dr. James is going to the Capitol at least once a week.
Yeah.
I am there every other week, going to be there twice this week, and we're just taking those opportunities to speak to our legislators. I will say they do listen, and they want to hear from us, and I feel like some things have been amended because of our conversations, and we just want to be heard. There's a lot of junk out there, in the political sense, and we want them to hear directly from us. So we're investing that time during session.
Will we have that meeting with them again like we had last year? Remember we had the meeting and then had the...
We haven't scheduled anything, but we definitely could.
It would be nice to have that again. to have some discussions
For sure.
with them.
We also have PTA is offering one too. They're hosting one August. I will misspeak on that date. We can share that with you. It's actually community where they will be inviting. So I'll be there to help MC that as well, but also for our community to come. And it's almost a roundtable discussion where community members can move around and visit and take time to visit with different the legislators from our area and our district.
That was what was nice in the meeting here, was like a roundtable discussion. It was nice.
Okay.
For this legislation session.
Thank you.
And,
April 3rd.
We'll be out of town.
well, we won't be here.
Oh, yeah, we'll be at.
Thank you.
Anything else? Is that it? Okay. Well, thank you for your time this
Yeah,
evening.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for the
Thank
information.
you. Okay, next items, comments from the public. We have none. Next item will be the general consent, excuse me, items 13 through 72. Any discussion?
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Williams,
Oh, abstain?
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Mrs. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Allen.
Yes. Next item, Ms. Enoff.
Good evening, President Allen, Mr. Perry, members of the board. Seeking your approval tonight to approve our application for temporary appropriations for the 25-26 school year. This sets our temporary budget for July 1 while we work on finalizing our year-end audits June 30th.
I can't believe we're already talking about the end of the, it's crazy.
We're here. We're in it.
Blazing fast. Any questions or discussion? Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williams,
Abstain?
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Mrs. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Allen.
Yes. Thank you. Mr. Butler. I didn't get a button either.
Good evening,
There they are.
Mr. Perry, President Allen, members of the board. I just wanted to bring to you for your approval tonight for awarding the bid for the Broken Arrow High School Access Control Project to Merit Group in the amount of $79,200. All bidding was conducted pursuant to board policy and will be paid for with general funds.
Well, this for access for high school?
Yeah.
Doors, classrooms, what is it?
Yeah, so this is doors primarily in the courtyard of the high school.
Oh, nice.
And we're going to be putting access control on them so that in a lockdown, a button can be pushed. We can lock those doors down and secure them.
Nice.
Perfect. Any questions or discussion?
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll. Thank you, sir.
Dr. Williams,
Abstain?
Ms. Taylor, Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Mrs. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Allen.
Yes. Next item, Mr. Bowser.
Good evening again, Mr. Allen, Mr. Perry, members of the board. So this is exciting because this is the third installment of our replacement of smart boards throughout the district. So the last 2 summers, we've tackled the rest of the district. All that is left is the high school. And so it is the culmination of our bond dollars at work and being able to try and replace some outdated equipment. So as you'll recall, probably 13, 14 years ago, we installed smart boards throughout the district, and we have used them, and they are, you know, there's actually, in all fairness, there haven't been a lot of complaints about it from the high school this year because we took a proactive approach this summer in an effort to ensure that they were all working the way they should be, having plenty of replacements for projectors to be able to take care of that. But this summer we'll take out those old smart boards and replace them with our interactive BenQ panels, which have become the new standard around the district. And we'll actually start some of this work of the infrastructure and cabling over spring break in an effort to be able to, you know, make those installs go more smoothly. We've had a couple of meetings with Ms. Barber and the high school admin team, because we know summer school happens there, and so we have to plan around that to be able to install these panels and all that kind of thing. So this is the third installment for that. So part of what we do with the panels is we also install, like last summer we installed new computer monitors, because when you install the panels, the monitors require a certain resolution in order for the interactivity to work as it should. And so this is just what is needed to refresh the high school and finish that project. So I'm asking for your approval this evening.
Any questions?
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll. Thank you, Mr. Bowser.
Dr. Williams,
Abstain.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Mrs. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Allen.
Yes. Next item, new business. We have none. Item 77 is to move to executive session.
I motion that we move to executive session.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williams,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Ms. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Allen.
Yes. Thank you.